Okay, so this is the pump for the liquid, and this is the regulator that controls the air going to your system. So what's gonna happen is you're gonna come from your air compressor, and you'll wanna make sure that you have a regulator on your air compressor so that we can adjust the air, that it's only hitting this regulator at about 90 PSI. So you'll have ran your pipe, and inside your pipe, the 3/4 that you've run will run right, and it'll go into this adapter. Okay, these are really hard to get off, so make sure you have everything measured where you want it to be before you attach it to this brass fitting. So your air line coming in from the barns, and it's going to go into this side. It's pre-made. It'll come to you just like this, and that's your connection. On the regulator, there's a stop, a lock, and an unlock. And so you'll screw it in. If the pressure needs to go up, you'll screw it in. If the pressure needs to go down, you'll unscrew it out. Just be careful not to screw it out too far or go in too far, because they will break. And the maximum pressure on the grenade, or for the foggers, is 55 pounds. I just soon you leave it around 50, or between 50 and 55. That's where you're gonna run your pressure for the system. On the pump, so when you mount this pump, you either mount it horizontal or this way. Do not mount it up. Because what happens if you get a leak, water will go inside the motor and this thing will be toast. So whether you have a jug or a 55-gallon drum or a 15-gallon drum, you'll have a connection like this on that container. So this is your 3/8 tubing. It just plugs directly into the top, and that's your suction line. And then there's an arrow on there that you can see. It's kind of hard to see, but for your flow. So the arrow is going with the flow. So you have the hose coming out of the jug or drum, and then you're hooking this into your 1/2-inch line that you ran that has the heads attached to it. So simple adapter, 3/8 to 1/2. Now on the bottom of these caps, they have a suction tube. So this is already put together, and it should be measured on what container you have. So when we send this to you, it should be good to go. So this way, when you change containers, you just need to change the lid. Make sure when you put it in that you push it all the way in, because if you have an air leak here, it will not work. We drilled holes in the caps so you don't have any issue with suction. When you go to run the system, especially the first time, you're gonna plug in your pump and this is only like a little over a gallon a minute. So it'll take a few minutes to fill your system. So turn on the plug. There's not an on and off switch. It's either plugged in or not. So plug it in, pump will start to run. It'll fill the line all the way to the end. When it stops clicking, then you know that your system is full. It's got its own pressure switch, so when it's full, it shuts off. When you're not running the system, unplug it, please. We've had a couple instances where we had an issue with the pump because it was plugged in. It should be okay, but we recommend that you unplug it when you're not using it. So plug in your system, pump fills all the lines, then turn your air on. So when you do this the first time, everything really should start right up. If you have an air leak, so if you don't have one of these connections in, especially the air, if you have an issue with the liquid, you're gonna see it leaking out. But on the air, it's really important when you put the heads, when you attach it, that you get it all the way in and it's tight. One leak will make the whole system not work, and sometimes it's hard to go find it. You should be able to hear it, but a little bit of air leak causes a lot of problems. So when you're running your system, plug it in, let the system fill up, turn the air on, let it run. At the end of it, when you're ready to shut off, you'll get a feel for how long it takes for you to get the right amount of fog in your barn. So when you're about halfway or 3/4 of the way through fogging, unplug the pump and just let the air clean out the system. What we don't want is to leave solution in the bowl, right? If you blow it out so that there's no liquid in here, then because we're using a HOCl that's made from brine or salt, sometimes you'll get salt will crystallize if you don't clean these out. And on the bottom side of this, there's a roll pin on this arm. So this is your float control. And behind there is a needle valve. And so that needle valve is what shuts the flow off. So when the bowl's full, this arm comes up and shuts off the flow. So if you leave solution in here, sometimes this will get stuck. So you take the bowl off, and you can take the bowl off when it's running because there's no pressure on it. Comes right off, and water or solution will run right out of the bottom of the tube there. So that part is super simple, but it's really important to follow that sequence of charge the system, turn on the air, unplug the system, let the air clean out the head. Any questions? Give us a call.